My presentation consists of two topics. My first part concerns my studies, PhD studies, Maritime Safety Culture, and insights from my doctoral thesis, and also I have included some results from recent studies from 2020. And second part focus on what we are doing in the Finnish Hydrographic Office. I work for Finnish Transport and Communications Agency, and I am the head of Hydrographic Office there, and I will tell you what is going on in our office right now and what kind of plans we have for the near future. However, I will start my presentation by introducing shortly my professional and educational background and key research contribution I have been involved in, and some sites for the recent studies in the area of maritime safety and the ISM code. My academic background includes Master of Science degree in Agriculture and Forestry for University of Helsinki, where I studied from 1981 to 1991, so it took 10 years. I do some work parallel with my master studies, so it took some time. In my studies, I focused on environmental economics and land use planning, and later I did my PhD studies in geographic, and Ulla and Pentti were my supervisors those days for my PhD. The ship in the background of the photo is the steamship Buure, which is built in 1960. She is very important ship for me because when I was 8 years old, that was my first time when I traveled from Finland to Sweden to Stockholm. I was very little boy and was very interesting and excited to be on board a ship. And those days, this was the biggest passenger ship in Nordic countries, and maybe in entire Baltic Sea, I suppose. Later in the early 2000, I visited her again while I was working for Fujitsu. At that time, she was named Christina Regina and was owned by a shipping company called Christina Cruises. Christina Cruises was one of my customers those times, so I have had the opportunity to visit the ship quite often.
Where was it in that time? Where did you go? Christina Cruises?
At eastern part of Mediterranean Sea and around Canary Islands, and also from Lisbon to Helsinki, I took one trip. And later, when I conducted part of my PhD interviews for my doctoral thesis, I did my interviews on board her at the Red Sea. And also, I had my postdoctoral dinner party there in 2016. This ship is down there at the Aura River in Turku, and it is now there is a restaurant and hotel on board, and also it's some kind of museum.
We, as PhD students, have to also book a cruise ship for the celebration of the PhD.
Yes, so yeah, we have to book the whole vessel for our party.
Okay.
Mega star, my star.
Yes. My occupational career started at 1985 when I worked for Pohjolan Norden Youth League, which job focuses on cooperation between Nordic countries, and then I started 1988 in Fujitsu. Those days it was called Nokia, and later it was called ICL, and lastly nowadays it's called Fujitsu. So I did quite a long career in IT business also. I started as sales manager in Fujitsu, and later I did some GIS specialist work there, and I had 3 years. I was 3 years in Capgemini in the near Millennium, and then I came back to Fujitsu for some years. And in 2006 I started in Kotka Maritime Research Center, where I met Ulla and Pentti. I worked there as an executive director 2 years, and then I started my PhD studies 2008. So I can say that my PhD studies also took quite a long time, because some personal issues, and also because I would say that I made my PhD 3 times. I started it in Finnish, and I was not satisfied for that version, and then I started to do some scientific papers and publish them, but I was not satisfied those either, and then I did a monograph, and finally that is enough good, and I that ended in, I had defense in June 2016. Now I work as a head of hydrographic office in Traficom, which is Finnish Transport and Communications Agency. Formerly it was called Trafi and Finnish Transport Safety Agency, and 2019 Trafi was joined to Traficom, and so I have been in this career. I have been about 12 years now. That's my professional background. Here is some examples of my most important publications, which are peer-reviewed publications from 2011, and my last publication is published in 2019. It handles mostly maritime safety culture and safety management, but also some other issues. So my PhD study started at 2008, when I started to make a research plan, and first interviews were made in the fall of 2008, and my interviews ended in 2010. So those interviews took also almost 2.5 years. So the results of my study could be considered quite old right now. It was about 15 years ago when I did my interviews. And because of that, I made a literature review about the recent studies concern maritime safety culture and also the ISM code. So I have some quite new research studies also included to my presentation. And one conclusion for that, based on my literature review, is that similar challenges and problems still occur in maritime sector than 15 years ago. So the objective of the study was to explore how the Finnish maritime personnel perceive safety management and its relationship with safety culture. I was particularly interested in understanding the influence of the ISM code, which is designed to enhance safety and prevent maritime accidents. I think that by analyzing the views of the maritime personnel, I could gain insight into the effectiveness of these safety frameworks in actual practice on board ships. The background of the study was motivated by the results of accident investigations, which have had revealed significant gap in safety culture within the maritime sector. These differences not only jeopardize the safety of personnel, but can also have catastrophic consequences for the environment and the economy. And I think that addressing these gaps is essential to foster a culture that genuinely prioritizes safety. As a research method, I employed qualitative thematic interviews engaging 94 individuals across 7 shipping companies. That also explains why it took so much time to carry out those interviews. I think that this approach to interview so many people allowed to capture a diversity of perspectives and experience comprehensively. Additionally, I complemented the interviews with observation on board. I observed safety drills and also safety practices on board ships, and I was able to participate ISM audits and port state control inspections those days. I think that such an in-depth methodology ensures that the findings are both robust and reflective of the maritime safety climate of that time. And I would say that also those phenomena occurs also nowadays, unfortunately. Safety culture can be defined as the organizational culture that emphasizes safety values and commitments. This definition points towards a collective mindset that influences how individuals perceive and act upon safety in their daily operations. And strong safety culture based on commitment from all levels of the organization, which means that management must be actively involved in promoting safety, while employees should feel empowered to voice concerns and report unsafe practices without a fear of punishment or negative consequences. An effective reporting system is also important as it fosters open communication and continuous learning from incidents. As I said, that one motivation was for me was to study this maritime safety culture is based on several major maritime accidents which have occurred before, and also these major maritime accidents were reason to establish the ISM code. The tragic accidents involving also, for example, the Herald of Free Enterprise Scandinavian Star and the Estonia were significant catalysts for establishing ISM code. This incident highlighted critical deficiencies in ship safety and management practices those days, and ultimately leading to an unified approach to maritime safety. And the primary objective of the ISM code is twofold. It aims to enhance safety at sea and protect the marine environment. This is achieved by clearly defining the management responsibilities of ship operators and ensuring that they adhere to best practices. By creating a structured framework, the ISM code not only sets the bar for safety, but also fosters a culture of accountability within maritime organization. And in order to ensure compliance with the standards, external audits such as ISM audits play a vital role. And for example, Traficom as a maritime authority conducts these audits and provides an assessment of how well companies are adhering to ISM code. And additionally, port state control serves as a key enforcement mechanism for the ISM code across different ports worldwide. This regulatory body ensures that ships comply with safety regulations before entering national waters, thereby reinforcing a collaborative effort to uphold maritime safety. And as I told, I was able to participate several ISM audits, which was carried on maritime inspectors those days, and also I was also able to participate some port state control inspections, which were important to gain information about safety culture and safety practices on board, and very useful research data for me. So let's go to the results of the study. It is said that management commitment is a cornerstone of effective safety management. However, my interviewees considered that there is indicated me that there were mixed views regarding these commitments, as for example, the resources provided often face constraints due to economic factors. However, it's important for leaders to recognize that their support must be visible and consistent to foster a culture of safety. Also, the results indicated a positive trend in employee involvement. Workers were not only satisfied with the current safety management practices, but were also actively participating, for example, safety drills. This engagement is crucial as it empowers employees to take ownership of their own safety and the safety of their colleagues, creating a proactive safety culture. In addition, there was a strong desire among staff to enhance safety measures, particularly in the areas like reporting systems and corrective actions. By actively seeking feedback and implementing change, it is possible to create more resilient safety practices. Lastly, the study showed a reduction in hierarchy on ships. This shift has led to more collaborative environment on board, where team members feel encouraged to voice their concerns and contribute to safety discussions. Such a culture not only improves morale, but also enhances the overall safety performance of organization. However, I found some deficiencies and challenges during my study. For example, excessive documentation and bureaucracy. While regulations are essential for safety and accountability, the sheer volume of paperwork can hamper processes and create inefficiencies. This can lead to frustrations among staff who may feel overwhelmed by administrative tasks instead of focusing on their core responsibilities. Also, the complexity of systems required for compliance. These systems often came with complicated procedures that can be hard to manage. This complexity can lead to confusions and errors, ultimately detracting from the goal of seamless operations. It's crucial for organizations to seek ways to simplify these systems whenever possible. I found also the underutilizations of employees' skills. Many employees bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to the table, but if their skills are not fully leveraged, organizations miss out on potential improvements in efficiency and effectiveness. The crew members thought that their experiences and knowledge was not utilized enough. And I think that it's essential to encourage a culture of empowerment. Also, they found that overlapping inspections were a deficiency of the ISM code. When multiple audits occur, it not only leads to redundancy, but also consumes valuable time and resources. Streamlining these products would significantly enhance operational efficiency and reduce staff burnout. As conclusions, what we need to do. The first point which I would like to highlight is the simplification of the safety management systems where the experiences and knowledge of the crew members is taken into account. This is not just about making it less complex, it's about creating a framework that aligns with the daily realities of the seafarer's life. By taking into account their insights and experiences into the development process, we can foster a system that is both intuitive and practical. And this approach not only enhances compliance, but also encourages proactive safety behavior among crew members. However, what would I say that Finnish Maritime has made significant success and progress in enhancing its safety culture. And in conclusions, we can say that the ISM code has proven beneficial, yet its application reveals some shortcomings, deficiencies, and so on. Here is some example of recent studies focusing on safety culture and the ISM code. As I said, I conducted a literature review on recent studies published from 2020, and the review indicates that the development of maritime safety culture and the effectiveness of the International Safety Management Code have remained critical area in the studies in recent years. For example, Jorulmats and Karaplut studied how the ISM code contributes to efficiency through safety culture, and they emphasized that compliance leads to tangible operational benefits. They found several important benefits during their studies. However, Storkersen, who published her papers 2020 and 2021, she focused on Norwegian coastal traffic and highlighted that the ISM code can lead to safety chaos, which is contrary results than my study or Jorulmats and Karabulut studies. She considered that safety management can increase the workload of navigational personnel as documentation and rule interpretation can become a risk factor. Rinaldi 2020 evaluates the reliability of the ISM code implementation in mitigating operational risk in the shipping industry and emphasizes its importance for regulatory compliance. Also, BUC 2020 discussed the ISM code role in promoting sustainable shipping and how safety management systems contribute to strong safety culture. Both of those studies indicated very positive results based on the ISM code. Kopala and Mokhtar 2022 investigate how Asian seafarers perceive safety culture under the ISM code safety management system and its effect on maritime operations. CONAM 2020 explores how near-miss reporting can enhance safety culture in shipping and emphasize the need for proactive safety measures. And both those studies indicate quite positive results based on the ISM, based on the application of the ISM code. Zhang and company critically examined safety culture in the superyacht industry. They identified gaps in compliance and informants and crew training, and they highlighted the unique challenge of smaller maritime sectors where the ISM code informants is less rigorous. And that was some contrary indications than Kopala, Mokhtar and Kone. And Navestat proposed a conceptual model for demonstrating how regulatory bodies can shape safety culture by influencing organizational behavior through inspections, informants, and educations. This research aligns with BUC 2020, who argues that sustainable shipping requires a safety management system that aligns with the ISM code principles. And also, contrary to those indications, Torkelsen 2025 emphasized the regulator-regulated relationship and the role of third parties in regulatory systems. She introduced the term audits and indicated that regulatory audits can sometimes increase bureaucracy without real safety benefits, which is quite negative finding. Also, digitalization and maritime safety culture has been on focus on recent studies. For example, Hopcraft, Kopala and Mokhtar, Esad Demirici, Cicek ja Abdel Rauf and Elsaid has studied those issues. They indicated that digitalization progresses and maritime safety must also address cybersecurity. Hopcraft, for example, examined how cyber threats impact safety operations. He argued that cybersecurity should be embedded within the safety culture framework. The study suggests that integrating cyber risk management with traditional safety management can help mitigate threats in an increasingly digitalized maritime industry. Also, Kopala and Mokhtar highlighted how the emergence of digital navigation tools, automation and cybersecurity risk means that safety management must evolve beyond human compliance. And Abdel Rauf and Elside emphasize also that safety culture implementation is essential for the future of autonomous ships, where human oversight may be reduced and automated system will require new regulatory frameworks. So those, how can I conclude this? Present studies, these are some examples of that, but I think that similar challenges and deficiencies could be found nowadays also, but also some progress and benefits from the application of the IS code could be also found present days. Not much have happened. As Ulla has told me several times that maritime industry is quite old-fashioned and progress goes there quite slow pace. Thanks for that. Have you any questions about safety culture or the ISO code?
Okay, one interesting question about the current oil export from Russia. What is the safety culture on current grave field? Any idea? Harmaa-laivasto, whatever you call it.
Yes, that's another issue. Yes, my boss. Yes, my boss is quite familiar with that issue. I refuse to touch that.
Any comment? Okay.
Yes.
Understand.
Yes, I have a role also as an civil servant in Finnish transport and communications. So I don't think that it's not wise to comment.
Maybe.
Okay, let's continue to my second part of presentation. I will start to introduce the Finnish Hydrographic Office. What do we do and what are the topical issues which are going on in our office? The Hydrographic Office is a part of Traficom's maritime sector under the branch of Transport and Safety Services. And the Traficom's maritime sector includes 3 departments, which are Maritime Safety and Marine Environmental Department, the Hydrographic Office, and the Seafarers and Boating Departments. There is also 3 units, which are Fairway, Maritime Inter-Authority Cooperation and Information Services Unit, Coordination of International Maritime Affairs and Research and Development Units, and those units managers report directly to Maritime Director Sanna Sonninen, and my department, Hydrographic Office, consists of 4 units, which are Hydrographic and Bathymetric Survey Unit, Depth Data Processing Unit, Nautical Chart Production and Maintenance Unit, and Development of Nautical Chart Products and Services, which is some kind of research and development unit in our department. And we are 62 people right now in Hydrographic Office, and we are 4 unit manager and the National Hydrographer work also in our department, and I have also an IT manager, because of nowadays hydrographic business is quite IT oriented, more or less.
May I ask?
Of course.
So, at least I know that there is a lot of inland traffic also in Finland, at
Yes.
least 100,000 lakes,
That's right.
channels, rivers. Who is responsible for the transport safety in these areas?
Traficom is also responsible for that, and also we provide navigational charts for main inland, main lake districts where official shipping routes, for example, Lake Saimaa and Lake Päijänne and Lake Näsijärvi. There are official shipping routes there, so we provide navigational charts there also.
Thank you.
The hydrographic process starts with hydrographic surveys. Here you can see some photos from recent survey projects. The photo above left was taken at Lake Saimaa, near the city of Savonlinna, where the Swedish survey company Clinton conducted surveys during the summers from 2020 to 2024. Actually, I have lived in the house that is in the background of that photo there. That's why it's important. Okay. That project at Lake Saimaa was supposed to be completed in the winter of 2023, but it was delayed due to Russian attack at war against Ukraine. Clinton has a plan to sail the larger survey vessel to Lake Saimaa via the Saimaa Channel, but due to the war, the channel was closed, and as the result, Clinton has to use smaller vessels there, which were not as efficient. And I have to say that I was born in Savonlinna, and I have sailed there a lot when I was young, which is why this project is very, very close to my heart. So I supervised that project very, very carefully. And the photo on the right was taken in Linnasaari National Park, also at Lake Saimaa. I used to go there boating and camping when I was young also. And this beach there, I used also camping there when I was young. And at that picture, you can see an unmanned survey vessel in the photo. That was the first time when unmanned survey vessels were used in Finland and in survey project. The photo below left was taken at Lake Konnevesi at middle of Finland, where the Norwegian company Field conducted their LiDAR surveys for Traficom last summer. These are the recent survey projects which we have committed. Last year we conducted hydrographic surveys in the archipelago sea down there above Åland Islands. There we had LiDAR surveys and also multi-beam echo sounder survey. And these surveys will continue this year also. In addition, we completed the field surveys at Lake Saimaa. As I told, this green area there started at 2020 and ended this winter when we get the bathymetric data from the Clinton. Last year, we also launched a new multi-year survey project in the Lake District of Northern Savonia, which is this yellow middle of Finland, where we carried out LiDAR surveys and also fairway surveys. Next summer, we will continue fairway surveys, and 2026 we will start aerial multi-beam echo sounder surveys. Also, we have fairway surveys up there in the Bothnia Sea. Second phase of the hydrographic process is producing depth data information from the bathymetric data. Depth information includes depth contours and figures. In addition, we are going to start publishing three-dimensional depth models based on the IHO S-100 standard during this year. And what we produce, these are examples of our nautical charts products, which consist of electronic nautical charts, ENCs, and for the ECDIS user, and printed nautical charts and different nautical publications. This year we will start also publish IHO 101 based ENC charts. And our object is to publish S-101 charts entire sea area next year during 2026. We also provide printed nautical charts in general, coastal and harbour scales. Here are some examples from Suomenlinna, nearby Suomenlinna. And these are examples of our nautical publications. List of lights and notices to mariners, for example. And what is our major research and development projects right now? Now it works. In Finland, an implementation and application of the Baltic Sea Chart Datum 2000 is called N2000 project. So we are having this project going on right now. N2000 fairway and nautical chart reform is a project initiated in order to improve the accuracy and consistency of nautical charts in Finland. In this reform, depth and fairway data in nautical charts are tied to Baltic Sea Chart Datum height system. The current depth reference level is based on the theoretical mean sea level, and it will be replaced with the Baltic Sea Chart Data height system. This geodetic reference system ensures better compatibility of depth data at both national and international level. And I think that kind of work is going on also in Estonia.
How do you define this? What is theoretical level? How do you define the term theoretical?
This Baltic Sea Chart Datum. It is fixed to Earth
System, yeah, okay. Yes.
And I'm sorry, may I ask, does it affect its position from GPS, for instance? If you have your local vacuum, how it is aligned with the GPS system?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not expert on this. It is the reference is tied to Baltic Sea Chart Datum, which is tied to some reference point.
GPS has VGS. It has its own referential system, so it might be that there are some transfer matrix to adjust to your system.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I have to add something about my role in the Hydrographic Office. My role is more or less administrative. I'm responsible for personal resources and budget issues and so on. So I am not very deep in technical issues. The schedule of the reform is that the reform began in the Botnian Bay and expected to achieve full coverage of Finnish sea area by 2026. And the first nautical chart tied to Baltic Sea Chart Datum were published in autumn 2021. It was a couple of months after I started as a head of the Hydrographic Office. I started in June 2021. As a part of the project, we are addressing our backlog in incorporating depth data into nautical charts. This backlog consists of bathymetric survey data accumulated over the past decades, which has not previously been processed into depth information yet, and also not published on nautical charts. Renewing depth data requires a significant amount of work, and for this purpose we have hired temporary employees and also consultants for the duration of the project. Right now we have 8 temporary employees and also 8 consultants for doing this depth data, doing depth contours and depth figures. At this moment, the work is going on there in the eastern part of the archipelago sea and also at the Lake Saimaa. The green area is already done during the projects, and the object to end the project at the sea area is in the end of 2026. And until now, we have published new charts based on the Baltic Sea chart datum reference level for the area zone in the yellow area at this photo, this map. And this spring, we will publish charts covering the area south of the Åland Sea. And in addition, we will publish charts covering the southern part of Lake Saimaa also this spring. And at the Lake District, the project will end at 2027. It will take some more time. And then about IHO S-100 implementation in Finland. It is said that the future of nautical chart is more or less digital, with the increasing adoption of electronic navigational charts and the global implementation of the IHO's S-100 standard. This transition will bring we believe that this transition will bring significant chances to maritime navigation, safety and efficiency. And here are some key trends shaping the future. E-navigation is a concept defined by the International Maritime Organization, IMO, that aims at advancing the digitalization of maritime and the use of electronic navigation technologies in seafaring. As a concept, e-navigation covers a wide variety of digital systems and services which aim to be easily available and efficiently used on vessels and on land. E-navigation covers methods for collecting, integrating, and exchanging information. And S-100 is a framework for digital information exchange developed by the International Hydrographic Organization, under which different organizations define the interfaces and information models connected to maritime information exchange. S-100 is also defined as a general maritime information framework, which is common maritime data structure within the IMO's e-navigation concept. The S-100 defines the shared structures and formats for defining, processing, and distributing maritime information. With the S-100 standard, maritime information from different sources can be integrated and presented in a unified manner and navigation systems. I think that somebody here is more familiar about S-100 than me.
You know something, a little bit.
Yes, I know also something,
Yeah.
little.
Little bit.
My experts, my chief advisors knows a lot.
For sure.
They are participating in IHO works, and one guy is chair of the committee, the working group of IHO.
Who is
Developing these standards.
What's the name? Who is the name?
Mikko Hovi.
Okay.
for example. And of course, several of our people do part of IHO work in work groups or committees also. Baltic Sea ENAM project, I wonder if you have heard about this project something. In order to deploy the first layers of S-100 based navigational products in the Baltic Sea and do so in regionally harmonized manner, the hydrographic offices around the Baltic Sea are partnering with academy and industry in the Baltic Sea ENAM project. The project will test S-100 products from the end-user perspective to ensure the most relevant and usable navigation data possible. The recently started project will continue until 2026 and is co-financed by the EU Interreg Baltic Sea Region project. And we have also planned to have a continuation project after this Baltic Sea ENAM project, and this continuation project is planned to focus on the S-100 standards, which are targeted to, for example, port information and port infrastructure issues. The Baltic Sea ENAM project will achieve two specific outputs. Firstly, the rollout of the number of commercial S-100 based products with significant coverage in the Baltic Sea. And secondly, the project will develop detailed product harmonization guidelines for the data producer in the Baltic Sea regions. And the partnership of the Baltic Sea ENAM project covers the entire area of the Baltic Sea, almost the entire area of the Baltic Sea, with partners being the hydrographic offices of Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland and Sweden, and as well as there is partners Finnish Meteorological Institute, Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, Research Institute of Sweden also, and Bruno Finland. And associate partners like Primar, which is the regional ENC distributor for ENC maps, is also partnering that project. When it comes to S-101 and S-102, 101 electronic navigational charts and 102 bathymetric surveys, our intention is to start parallel productions of those products in September 2025. We have as a part of our N2000 project, we will start production of those ENC maps, where we have finalized the project of Baltic Sea chart datum, and we are going hand by hand with this project. Also, navigational warnings. We are developing new system of navigational warnings, which will help us to publish S-124 productions in the future, and operational use of S-124 navigational warning will start at January 2026. And Finnish Meteorological Institute has planned to publish S-104 and S-111 surface currents also this year. The intention is to have test products ready in autumn 2025.
So have international regulations some deadline to have everything ready?
2026.
Who is giving it? Its organization?
I think that the IHO has set the date that during 2026 should every hydrographic offices to be able to publish.
All over the world?
I think all over the world. It's global standard. But it will take 10 or 20 years when every ships have equipment to handle S-101.
Okay.
It will take time.
Like all other standards, they are obligatory until this and that year, but the majority of the ships do not comply with that regulations.
Which one? Which regulation?
Which, with a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
It was a requirement for AIS, then majority ships didn't have them, then
Okay.
now it's for these S-100.
Okay.
It was also in the past for GMDSS equipment also. It was a deadline, but a lot of ships didn't follow that requirements.
Okay, let's take a brief look at the future, what we are planning to do after ongoing project, after N2000 project and S-100 implementation projects. As the S-100 standard opens up entirely new possibilities for maritime navigation, it is believed that paper charts will gradually be phased out. This year, we will begin an impact assessment to analyze the consequences of ending the productions of printed nautical charts. Most importantly, we will evaluate this issue from the perspective of navigational safety. We recognize that printed charts are an important backup system for navigation. Whenever a system failure occurs or cyber threats such as GPS spoofing, data manipulation, or hacking compromise electronic navigations, the only reliable backup may be a traditional paper chart and a compass. In addition, we need to conduct a cost-benefit analysis. We gain some money from selling printed nautical charts. That is not much, but little bit. As part of our revenue is based on printed charts, we have to conduct cost-benefit analysis, and also we have to interview and do some questionnaire targeted to our stakeholders in order to get their opinion, how they feel if we end up producing printed nautical charts. Maybe not in my time when.
I'm sorry, may I ask one question? How often do you update these charts when you produce one chart, or how long it is valid? Or it depends for area to area?
It depends on how much changes has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we do this. We do minor changes all the time for every charts, and we inform maritime sectors by notices to mariners, of course. But sometimes we do pre-prints, and sometimes we do new editions when the old one should be throw away and buy a new charts, but that happens quite not so often. During this N2000 projects, all our charts will be published and renewed. So it is we advise everybody to purchase new charts because of there are plenty of changes and because plenty of bathymetric data which have not been published before is published by these new charts during this N2000 project. Also, artificial intelligence is quite topical issue in Traficom, in Finnish Transport and Communications Agency. Our general director and other directors are very keen on artificial intelligence, and also we have to do also. And we have also carried out several experiments on the possibilities of utilizing artificial intelligence in the productions of nautical charts. For example, we have tested artificial intelligence in generating depth contours and extracting depth figures from bathymetric data. These tasks are highly time-consuming when done manually, so automation could bring more effectiveness. However, we use some algorithm called rolling coin algorithm in order to make depth controls, but it still needs some manual work in order to publish it so that mariners can read it. Additionally, we have tested artificial intelligence in recognizing jetties and wharves from aerial images. However, both of those tests have showed us that the algorithms we have used were not yet sufficiently reliable and not so useful. But we believe that in near future, artificial intelligence will develop and progress so fast that it will be utilized much more and more in near future. Finally, we have started a strategic planning for the future in the Finnish Hydrographic Office. What we are and where we will be in 2030. And that work is done by my unit manager, because I will be not there those days. I think so. Oh, if I will be there 2030, they will throw me out. Same as Pena last year.
Pentti,
Okay.
45 years of experience, but that I will not be alive.
Okay. If you will like to have some more information, here is some links for updated and more detailed information. What I told about Finnish Hydrographic Office.
Maybe a few questions about this. What kind of how many ships you have to collect the data?
How many ships?
How many ships there are?
Survey ships.
Survey ships, yeah.
Actually, we don't have any ships, but Arctia Meritaito
Of course. Yeah.
do surveys for us, and they have about 5, 6.
Yeah. How wide?
Some boats and some bigger ships. Okay. And we also
when you go once above sea level, how wide study area you can go when you go?
It based on the depth.
Oh, okay. Yes.
If it's shallow, it's not so wide, but if it's deeper, it's wider.
Mm-hmm. But it's 2 meters or 10 meters, 10, 20 meters.
From I think it's in shallow waters, it's good. Wide is 10 meters, but in deeper it's 20, 40 meters, maybe. It depends. And we have also this Swedish company Clinton, who did some surveys for us at Lake Saimaa, and this field from Norway, they did LiDAR surveys for us last year. So we purchase every surveys.
And what happens when you have done all the maps?
All
Situation is dynamic. It's always, there are always some changes in the seabed.
Okay.
There are a lot of changes at fairways. Then we have to survey it again, and also we have plenty of areas where surveys have done about 60, 70 years old, shallow areas called HELCOM category 3 areas. And my older colleague said to me when I asked how long it would take, he said that all these areas at this pace we have right now and the budget we have right now, it will take 30 years.
Okay.
30 years. And then we have to start it again.
Yes.
Now we started last year these surveys at the Lake District of Northern Savolax, and those surveys were that area was surveyed more than 100 years ago. So right now, if we are surveying right now, it might take 100 years when we go back at the same area.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
There was a question over there.
We have a question online. Mary is asking if Trafficom intends to publish S-100 across the entire sea area at the beginning of 2026. Will some data sets be in mean sea level and others in BSCH 2000? If I understood correctly, the change in the height system will be completed by the end of 2026.
That's right. Now we have, I can say, what this picture. These yellow maps is right now, and the ENC products are based on Baltic Sea chart datum right now, and the blue area is based on mean sea level right now, and this year we will publish maps below Åland Sea and Archipelago Sea, and after that those charts are based on Baltic Sea chart datum, and Gulf of Finland is still based on mean sea level. And it would the mariners face challenges. They have to be aware that if they go from up there, for example, to Helsinki, somewhere there the reference will change, and they have to be aware when they have to use water level information based on Baltic Sea chart datum and water level information based on mean sea level. That is one challenge. That is why we try to keep speed in that project.
I had two questions, but Pentti stole my first one. So I have to ask also about the measuring ships. But the second question is that so nowadays I'm not sailor anymore. For a while I'm just sailing with small boats, and I'm using mostly navionics sailing charts. And previously also this Transas, now it is, I think, IHO Wärtsilä. But as I understand that nautical charts, you are producing them.
Yes.
And these are free of charge. So, or I have to buy them.
You have to pay something. If you buy printed charts, you have to pay something, and also ships have to pay something when they download ENC charts from Primer, and Navionics pays us some royalties based on our price list. And you, when you buy a charts from Navionics,
I pay a lot of money. Actually,
something
cheaper to buy from you.
some money goes through by Navionics to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess we have no more questions online.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience in online, and thank you. And thank you for inviting me here. It was a nice day.